Panmure Golf Club was originally incepted by 17 gents in May 1845, one of which was the Earl of Dalhousie, who also at the time held the Lord Panmure title. They originally started the club next door at Montefieth, where the original 9 holes was laid out by Robertson and Brodie of St Andrew's fame. Randomly, it then changed in 1851 to 10 holes. Nobody still can quite understand that one. And was returned about 10 years later to 9 holes before the sort of essentially the boom of golf. The course was extended to 18 holes, and at that point it was becoming more and more difficult to fit everybody on the golf course, and that's when the club then purchased the land here, which initially old Tom laid out the original 18 holes, and essentially the course, apart from some changes by James Braid, the course has remained fairly unchanged since then. A number of families that were sort of all jute mill owners presented numerous captains through the original years of the club, and that's where when the club moved to this piece of land, the clubhouse was sort of architecturally built around Royal Calcutta Golf Club, because there was a very strong connection between the jute mills and obviously Calcutta with the jute trade. We're hugely honoured to have some of the characters and individuals from Alan Robertson and James Pirrie initially, to old Tom, to then James Braid, and also that connection with Hogan. It's a hugely important part of our heritage and the history of the club. In the past number of years, there's been the Smith Society's been created, which one of their ex-board members is an international member with us, and it really highlighted the Smith family as a whole, who were originally born and bred in Barry, which is essentially the town that's connected to Carnoustie. MacDonald Smith is sort of now still regarded as one of the best players never to have won a major championship. But when the Open came to Carnoustie for the first time in 1931, MacDonald returned to the club to play in the qualifying, shot the course record here, and then the following day then shot the course record at the championship course at Carnoustie. But there is a lot of sort of documentation to say that Hogan studied MacDonald Smith's swing to stop from hooking the ball, which then some believe that's part of the connection of why Hogan selected Carnoustie as his one and only Open Championship. Hogan came here 2 weeks prior to the Open Championship at Carnoustie to basically prepare for links golf. He had obviously never played this type of turf, and arrived along with his caddy Cecil Timms to prepare in only the way that Hogan could, which obviously worked, as obviously went on to win the Open Championship. But some of the anecdotal stories of obviously the time at the club. When he initially arrived, they found out that the club professional didn't use the clubhouse facilities, so he said, well, that's fine, neither will I. So they'd sit and have their lunch in the back of the kitchen. He also wanted to shave down the 17th green a little bit to emulate the conditions that were expected for the Open at Carnoustie. So he spoke to Willie Faulkner, the head greenkeeper at the time, and Mr. Faulkner supposedly said, well, there's the moor, just basically crack on. And the story goes is that Mr. Hogan took the moor, cut the green, cleaned the moor, and then handed it back to the head greenkeeper, which you think, to put it into perspective, obviously he was US Open and Masters champion at the time, just puts it into the context of the type of character that he was. The fact is that he only ever played here, the Burnside and the championship courses. Obviously it's a lovely touch. When we look back to the original rules that the Honourable Company created, there was no rule book back then. They were essentially striving forwards. I think we have a responsibility to keep telling some of these stories from the inception of golf, and we should be very proud of where we've got to.